Hi, I'm Forrest Griffin.
Brian Caraway.
And Misha Tate.
What's up, guys? This is Joseph Benavidez, UFC flyweight.
Hi, this is Greg Jackson, and you're listening to It's MMAzing, and that is an amazing pun.
Get it? Like MMA, but amazing? Amazing.
Radio.
Welcome to It's MMAzing Radio. I am your host, Dr. Law. With me, as always, DJ Mark.
What's up?
Also with me this week, man who's definitely not just watching Dancing in the Stars while talking to us, Lavender Gooms.
Dancing in the Stars sounds like an astrological show hosted by
I said Dancing with the Stars, but you're using some of your internet bandwidth to watch Dancing with the Stars, so you're getting a choppy situation.
You could pull that if you weren't recording the podcast.
You know what? I'm going to make Mike listen to this thing when it's over, and he's going to hear what I said. That's what's going to happen.
We all will.
Okay.
And you, the fans, chime in.
I know what I said.
But you would also be correct. I am half watching Dancing with the Stars. The most recent Bachelor, Matt James, is coming up with his partner, Lindsay Arnold.
Dancing in the Stars is kind of like if what your immigrant parents would call the show. You know, just Bobby. What, put on the dancing, in the stars, the dancing. In the stars. My dad asked me one time to say, put on that Eminem song where he cleans out his closet. Made me very happy. All right, boys and girls. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like I say this every time between pay-per-views, but there's nothing going on. Like, there's nothing going on until the end of the month. Is this pay-per-view? Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, you got a couple weeks.
Just about.
You got a couple weeks. There's a couple fights here or there that are interesting. The main event this weekend is a little interesting. We here have decided that this fight between I already forgot her name, and Marina Rodriguez, Mackenzie Dern and Marina Rodriguez, we here have decided it's a number one contenders bout for the flyweight championship. I think it is. I think it kind of is because, well, there's no one else for Valentina to fight.
Yeah, I mean, they're just as, valid as some of the other people that have challenged for the belt recently, so I say why not?
Exactly. You know what? They should ask Carla, do you want a shot one weight class up?
I'd be down.
We can call it a number one contender fight or who's next for the slaughter. Whichever way you want to say it. I think number one contender sounds better.
That's right. You know what Valentina was saying, like, you can't call the Octagon girls useless? Well, the people that Valentina fights might be in this regard. A little harsh. I feel bad about that joke. It wasn't even good. All right, guys. There's nothing going on. We scoured the headlines. I'm not sure if we talked about John Jones having the most tone-deaf response to a domestic violence situation you could imagine.
I mean those Instagram posts?
Yeah, where he said
like nothing happened.
Where he's gonna turn this into the best thing of his life. Where I'm like, yeah, honestly, I don't want to have a bad time here. So we're not going to talk about that.
Wasn't the fiance who he allegedly attacked or abused in one of them? I thought I remember seeing that.
Great. That's wonderful. All right, this past weekend though, let's talk about this real quick. We had a card. It was at the Apex. Did we all pick Santos?
No, I was the stupid one and picked Walker.
In fairness, not a lot happened in this fight, Mike. So I'm not sure you want to beat yourself up too much about it. Marcus, we were promised the banger. They said we're not going to need all 5 rounds, which you might as well fucking, just kiss of death right there. I would have turned it off if I was watching live. Well, okay, we know. They screwed us. Did we learn anything about anybody in this fight?
Yeah, not so much in this one. I mean, I think maybe one of the bigger takeaways is kind of how reserved Johnny Walker is. At least in my eyes, I still kind of see him as somewhat of a berserker type fighter where he kind of really goes after it and maybe gets over aggressive, and that has definitely won him some fights, but it's definitely caused him to lose some. He was much more patient in this fight, and really the whole fight kind of broke down to neither guy was super comfortable getting in the pocket and really exchanging hands. So most of this fight was measured on the outside with kicks. And, both guys have pretty decent kicking games. I think Santos mixed it up a little bit more by changing his stance. He has actually in the booth caught on to this. When he switches to southpaw and he uses his rear leg to go to the body and to the head, he has a lot of power there, and that's kind of probably one of his best strikes was his left body kick to the liver. He landed a few times, but overall, I mean, even looking at the numbers, like some of the rounds, Walker would have scored a little bit more. But because Santo would land some of the bigger kicks, I think he won some of those rounds. But overall, it was really uneventful. Like I said, either guy seemed a little timid to throw hands, and they would only do it after a kick. They would basically throw a kick, end up in the pocket, and they would both kind of like throw some hands out, not super measured and not land much. And overall, it was just kind of uneventful. Yeah, Bobby, you had something to chime in?
Yeah. Well, first, it seems like we had universal agreement on the scorecard with the media. With the first and the fourth going to Mr. Walker and the second, third, and fifth going to Santos. Did you, I know you don't, I'm asking this because I know you don't watch, you fast forward between rounds, right?
Yeah, I usually don't watch the corner
Did
stuff.
you watch the corner stuff this time?
No, but I heard about it. I learned some stuff from the commentary. The most important thing being, I guess the Raiders are doing really good. I guess there was Raiders in the crowd, and they said like, "Oh, the Raiders are 3-0," and I was like, "I don't keep up with football, so that's news."
Well, no, I was supposed to say
I
that this
didn't know.
was Walker with John Kavanaugh in his corner.
Yeah,
Conor McGregor's
and
coach.
I guess some of the criticism the corner got, I think they were telling Walker he was ahead, that he was doing good, and I think when you were maybe just looking at the numbers, Walker, like I said, purely off numbers, maybe purely off of activity, you could say that he maybe won some of these closer rounds. But like I mentioned, Santos, I think, stole some of these rounds away because he would land a big, heavy kick that would, reverberate out the arena, or he would land a decent punch. He was a little bit more active with his hands. So I know DC in the commentary booth did kind of jump on the corner, and we're kind of speculating, why are they not, telling Walker he needs to kind of sell out in the last round when he was, but technically, like you said, Bob, the media and I think myself, the first round, nothing happened and Walker just did enough to get it. And I think he took the fourth. So leading into the fifth, it kind of was anyone's fight. And even that round, you didn't really see Johnny Walker really kind of, push the pedal to the metal, try to win the fight, but neither did Santos. I think Santos.
Do you think, sorry to interrupt, do you think Coach Kavanaugh was maybe, his worry was that you're going to go berserker Johnny Walker, and he's trying to reel him in? Do you think I'm not saying he intentionally told him you're winning. He wouldn't think so, but if he had said, "Oh, you're down," which he wasn't either, he was 2-2, but what he thought was going to happen if Johnny Walker is the type of fighter who would just be like, "Oh shit, I'm down. I'm going to revert to everything, I guess, wrong I was doing before," maybe?
Yeah, that very well could have been the thought process. It did seem in my eyes, and again, the booth called that out, like both of these guys tend to do better when they turn it into a firefight. So this being a real tactical match didn't really help either fighter. So it would have been, in hindsight's 2020, it would have been better for either corner to really put the emphasis on the guys to be like, okay, this is the last round. You really need to push a bit more than you have. You need to get more active. And honestly, you need to get in the pocket and you need to throw some punches, because that's really this whole fight was push kicks to the leg, kicks to the body. And honestly, the only time they would ever exchange hands is like someone would throw a body kick. When they land that leg back down to the ground, they're in punching range, and they would both kind of flail out some punches, and they would both evade them and nothing would happen. Someone really needed to take the emphasis. And it was mostly Santos did it a few times where, set up a jab, set up your punches. Both of them seemed a little too cautious about getting in the pocket and potentially, getting in a firefight, where it seemed like it would benefit potentially both of them, because they tend to do better. Santos does better when it's a fucking fight. When he fought Jan Blachowicz, the current champion, he knocked him out when they became a fight. When they got in the pocket and started throwing down, that's when he does his best work. But neither guy seemed really interested in rolling the dice in that asset. And we ended up kind of paying for it. We ended up having a main event that wasn't super eventful, but that's just how it goes sometimes.
The other interesting that come out of this card, Kevin Holland, Kyle Dawkins.
I wish I would have watched this. If I'd known it was,
did you see
no contest, right?
Yeah. Did you see? Did anybody see the thing where the guy shot on Holland, and Holland like sprawled? Defended the takedown well, and then like is back against the cages still, and this guy's on him, Dawkins, and he yells over to DC. A lot better, right, DC? And DC's like, this guy's talking to me. Like that was kind of funny.
I heard about that. I didn't see it. I should go back and watch it.
So what happened is, that's a little bit of an interesting situation, is Dawkins and Kevin Holland clashed heads, and Kevin Holland was unconscious, and then he was getting choked. so they decided to call it a no contest. The debate is whether they could. I guess the right way of doing it would have been like, even if you knew what happened, they still let it be a submission, and then that like Holland would appeal to the athletic commission. But I think that Tan Dan just kind of decided to save everybody the effort. And like the
right call.
Yeah, and it was also like Tan Dan and the UFC was somehow involved in this conversation. Like they got like Mark Ratner talking to people, and I'm like, are you supposed to be? Are the UFC allowed to influence this?
I mean, might as well get it right the first time.
Why is the UFC involved?
Because why waste Kevin Holland's time and money having him?
Why does the UFC have any say in what happens?
You seem to think that the UFC is supposed to play by some certain rules here, Bobby.
Bobby wants the UFC to be like Atu, the watcher. Only watch, do not intervene.
I bet Bobby also wants people to get title shots based off athletic performance.
Merit
right?
and
Gumdrops and lollipops. Bobby's
if
living.
Big Papa Dana White wants to go there and say everybody wins.
I hope everybody's enjoying this. This is going to be the last episode because I'm just going to put Mike in charge of recording next week, and we'll see if it ever actually happens. Kevin Holland says he's treating it like a loss, which
is really dumb. I mean, don't beat yourself up.
Misha Serkinov went down to Krzysztof Jotko, some young fighters that we thought might be something. Alexander the Great Hernandez picking up a win over Mike Breeden early on in that fight. It wasn't, there was no fight of the night. Let's just put it like that.
Ouch.
They gave out 4 performance bonuses. Alexander Hernandez did say he was ready to, quote, party his dick off after that quick knockout. So we're hopeful, he was able to enjoy that in Las Vegas. Maybe he's at the Raider game.
No, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
They had Volkanovski there last week at the Raider game. All right. Other news we got, Sean O'Malley got some fight with like a 15th ranked guy. Sean O'Malley made the good point of, if you want me to fight in main events or co-main events, you should pay me like that. Which is foolish talk.
Also, it's like, well, some of these cards, like the one we're going to talk about, you might be the main event, but are you the main event? You know what I'm saying? Like, if the card.
No, we want you to fight like Frankie Edgar in the co-main of a New York card. It's like, you should probably pay. He's saying you should probably pay me accordingly.
I get it.
Yeah.
You know what this sounds like on a much lower scale, though? It's almost like the same mentality that Demetrius Johnson had when it came to, oh, you want me to move up a weight class? Pay me more? The UFC's going to be like, no. So I'm like, all right, so I'll just fight these number 1 contender scrubs you keep throwing my way.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, a job's got a price. Not all jobs are the same price. Just saying. I lost my train of thought with our scrub talk. God damn it.
Well, you mentioned the O'Malley signing, but we did kind of skip over. There was a Bellator card that had a big fight.
We'll get to Bellator in a second. Don't worry.
Okay, all right.
I mean, it happened. We also got ourselves a replacement fighter in the UFC men's bantamweight championship. Or featherweight? Bantamweight. Bantamweight. We're going to have Aljamain Sterling taking on Peter Yan at the end of this month. Aljo had neck surgery. I think we talked about it last week. Still got some nerve issues. It seems like he's not going to be ready to go. UFC's needed a replacement. TJ Dillashaw couldn't go. And I think we talked about it, Mark. We have to have a fight that day. Well, why can't not have a title shot that day?
So they're logic out the window. We'll figure something out.
So they're like, Sandhagen, can you get in there? Can you do this? And he's like, you want me to lose my last fight? Close. I thought he won. I think we all thought he won. It was close. That fight with TJ, but he lost. He's like, you want me to fight for an interim title though? And they're like, yeah, can you? And Sandhagen's like, okay. So we got Sandhagen versus Peter Yan at the end of this month, for the interim championship. And if the MMA gods are who they are, Sandhagen's going to win, right? That's what's going to happen. That's how this plays out.
Granted, Corey Sandhagen is quite the talent.
Marcus, you chopped up for a second there. Say that again.
No, I was just saying, Corey could. I mean, I think Peter is the better fighter, and I think, the odds and our pickings will lean that way. But Corey's a great fighter. Crazier things have happened.
I'm just saying, he want to have a kickboxing bout with Corey Sandhagen. It could go either way, really. These two guys. So, And then Conor McGregor announced that in January, him and Dustin Poirier sold 1.5 million pay-per-views on ESPN Plus. So Conor can continue to do whatever the fuck he wants. So, just putting that out there.
In other Conor news from the last week, for some godforsaken reason, he was given the key to Miami.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I bet they've given it to Flo Rida. They've given it to Fat Joe. They've given it to anybody who's ever spent 20 minutes in Miami.
But all right, Flo Rida, his name is literally Florida, so I can understand that one. I mean, Fat Joe, there's like 5 Puerto Ricans in Miami. Okay.
Yeah, Mike, I bet
Conor McGregor?
I bet it comes with a get out of jail free card because Conor might need it. That's what it gets when you get the key to the city. You get a freebie.
I gotta assume anyone who spends more than $1 million in bottle service at Live probably gets the key to the city.
There we go. All right, Bellator happened. We wanted MVP to beat somebody good. MVP beat somebody good.
But with an asterisk.
Why is it an asterisk? You beat him.
Well, barely.
Controversial, but
I mean,
still.
I don't think it was a close fight. First, I think it's the third round. It was the second and third round was very clear who won. The first round, it looked like they were feeling each other out, and it was a 3-round main event because Bellator is light years behind apparently the UFC with this shit. MVP giving him some credit. He probably could have just gotten a title shot immediately. He said, I should fight. Because it was a close fight. He says, we should fight again. And then the winner should get a title shot. Him and Douglas.
Sounds good.
I'm good with that. Maybe this time they can fight in... we figured this out. The Lima boys are from New York, right? Or they train out of New York, right?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. Were they with Tiger? Tiger Schulman? Or am I making that up? I thought they were.
I don't know for sure, so I wouldn't want to talk out of turn.
They should have him fight in New York. See if they can do that, or
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Or you know what? Good. Fuck. Go to Connecticut. Send them to the Mohegan Sun, right, Mike? It's 2 hours.
I mean, they've been at Uncasville enough over the last year and a half, so why not?
Mike made 0 trips to fucking Uncasville. 0 trips to
I am never going to a place called Uncasville.
What if we get Mike the key to the city? That's a fair point here. Can we get Mike? If we get you the key to the city, Mike, will you go to Uncasville, New York?
All right. I am making a reckless speculation here, but Uncasville sounds like a place they burn crosses out on lawns.
It's Indian Casino City. That's why they go there.
It'd be very awkward for them to burn crosses on lawns then. It is
Mike,
that you know what? That even ups how reckless
guys,
that speculation
why'd you guys say stay tuned to the to itsmmazing.com for Mike's apology to the fucking state of Connecticut and the city of Uncasville and the Mohegan tribe or whatever.
There are very nice people that live in the state of Connecticut. Shout out to what's the name of a town in Connecticut?
The home of the WWE, Stamford, Connecticut.
There we go. Shout out to Stanford or Stamford. Who cares?
Stam. With
Who gives a shit? That's a drive-through straight, Connecticut.
Connecticut. Never going to be invited to go to Connecticut. That's what's happening here. I don't know what else we got to say, Marcus. I mean, MVP wants to put a stamp on it. And for a guy who I feel all momentum is gone, like all of it, if he wants to build some momentum before they try to give him the keys to the middleweight or the welterweight division, okay.
Yeah, I mean, our biggest criticism with MVP's career is just that he hasn't really fought a lot of top guys. He's been fighting guys that we kind of knew the outcome from. Lima wasn't one of those guys, right? The first time they fought, it was really like, okay, we're going to put this guy to the fire.
He got hit with the same shot, too, in this one.
Oh, and then he
got that same uppercut, and he survived it. It wasn't full clip, but...
Yeah, well, that's interesting. But, I mean, ultimately, it's like, yeah, we want to see this guy tested. Lima, his star has definitely faded. I think this is like his 4th loss in a row or something, so it hasn't been smooth sailings for him. But we know he's a credible talent. We know he's a credible fighter. So we want to see MVP verse these guys and see how he does. And, this is the first time he's had a rematch with, a top flight opponent. And he did better. He won this fight by decision, as controversial as it may be, is some home cooking as it may have been. He survived at the very least and won a round, for sure. And then, they the hometown gave him the nod on the close one. It's not the most outrageous thing in the world. And I think it speaks to somewhat of his character to be like, let's settle this. Let's really put a stamp on this one. Let's throw it back for a trilogy fight and see who the better man is, and whoever that man may be. Why don't they fight for a title? So
honestly, Douglas hasn't looked good in a bit too. Douglas hasn't looked good in a little bit here. Yeah. So if you're going to try to get another one in a row. Yeah. For him to be in a conversation where it's like, I'm going to fight a trilogy fight, and if I win, I'm de facto number one contender, is very, wishful thinking maybe on his part, but I don't see anything wrong with that fight. So let's throw it back. And I didn't get to see the fight. I think we're missing. I still think that we missed the best of Michael Chandler, like his peak, like ability wise, was a couple years ago in Bellator, and I wonder if we're getting there with Douglas Lima too. Because watch him string like 3 of these together, and then the UFC comes calling then, you know what I mean? And he shows up, and no, Michael Chandler won a fight, lost a fight, almost won a championship, but, I could be wrong, but
Yeah, I always think pump the brakes when we're talking about maybe the best days, because we've been in this conversation a lot where it's like, oh, this guy seems like a journeyman at best, and they string some together. We see their best performances. I never want to put a cap on someone and say like, oh, their best days are behind them.
Do you remember when Matt Brown?
It doesn't look good right now. He needs to jumpstart his career. You
remember a couple years ago when Matt Brown won like 6 in a row?
He was on fire.
And we're like, Matt Brown. We went to that fight, him and Robbie Lawler. We're like, if Matt Brown wins this, they got to give Matt Brown a title shot. And he lost it. It was a good fight, and great to see live. But yeah. Guys get hot. All right. I think that's it for news. At least the news we're going to cover.
There's not much news.
Yeah.
Really isn't.
This is, and then the card this weekend coming up. Let's knock that out of the way so we can have some fun. Just knock out the MMA portion of the It's MMAzing podcast. Marina Rodriguez, Mackenzie Dern, de facto flyweight championship, number one contenders bout, as decided by us, the It's MMAzing radio professionals here. We'll talk about that shortly. The fights we're not going to pick, though. We got some people, man. We got Darren Witt. We got Deron Winn on this card. Been a fan of that guy. Fighting out of American Kickboxing Academy. He, got back on track. He's again here against Phil Hawes. We got Randy Brown, Marcus. I know we're fans of him. Seeing what he can do in the co-main event. Tim Elliott, the tallest flyweight you'll find. Actually, it wasn't? Yeah, flyweight. Tim Elliott's like 6 foot tall. He's a very lanky, large man. Gave Mighty Mouse problems. Yeah. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is thin as hell. There's a bunch of random ass. Like, this is the Fight Pass portion of the card, and it's all right here. Let's talk about that main event, though. Mike, what are the betting odds?
Let's see. Mackenzie Dern is a -162 favorite. Marina Rodriguez is a +132 underdog.
All right, we got Mackenzie coming off of 4 straight wins
via FanDuel as well.
Yeah, okay.
We know when you give those odds -162. We know exactly who's putting those odds together.
4 straight wins, 3 of them by submission, 2 arm bars and a knee bar for Ms. Dern. 11-1 overall, her only loss being a loss to Amanda Ribas. Marina Rodriguez came back from losing a split to Carla Esparza to take that big win over Amanda Ribas back in January. With the crazy knockout. And then Michelle Watterson took a win over her in her flyweight debut. 14-1 for this young lady. I'm taking Mackenzie Dern. I don't have a reason. It's not like I can even say Marina Rodriguez has got a loss by submission. She got one loss. It's a split. But I don't know. She's a purple belt. So if Mackenzie gets on top of her, I think a purple belt be screwed. So I'm going Mackenzie Dern. Mark, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going with Dern as well. When you start looking at the math, you can do the MMA math and say, like, Dern lost to Amanda, Marina beat Miranda, so by that logic. But what we've seen when we kind of dissect Marina's career, she seems to have trouble. I mean, mostly with grapplers that have strong wrestling bases. You look at the loss to Carla Esparza, you look at the draw to Randa Marcos, which I don't remember exactly how that it was a majority draw, so I don't know if there was a point deduction or something. She also drew with Cynthia Calvillo, who I kind of really, when I was looking at the records, that's the one that kind of raised an eyebrow, because I think Cynthia and Mackenzie Dern have similar qualities in that they're both extremely skilled when they get on the mat. Getting it there hasn't always been the easiest proposition. So I think on the feet, Dern's going to have some problems. I really hope that she has really learned some entries and takedowns, because the stand-up is always been where she's a little weak. We've seen some fights where she will throw some big, heavy hands. If she lands something big and gets you and drops you on your ass, you're in a lot of trouble because you're in her realm and you're kind of hurt. But I don't think that's really a strength of hers. So I think for Marina, if she keeps it standing, if she can negate the takedowns, stay out of the clinches where, maybe Dern goes for a jumping guard or something, or do a trip takedown, I think she has a good chance of winning this. But obviously, if it hits the mat, Dern's going to have, a lot of experience there and a lot of traps that she's going to be able to, try to catch Marina in. So I think it should be a compelling fight. I do have Dern getting this one, but Marina surprised me. I think that win over Amanda really kind of, because I think we were all really hot on Amanda when she was coming up for that fight. So Rodriguez definitely took some of that momentum. And, if she stops Dern here too, that's some good victories under her belt. That's some good scalps. But I think it's going to be tough. And I do think Dern is just going to be able to, kind of put her will on her and hopefully get her to the ground and get a submission, because that's really where you want to see a Dern fight. I don't want to see these two standing up and, Mackenzie just throwing big, heavy hands with her eyes closed, hoping to catch one and get outpointed. I want to see them grappling. I want to see what Dern's best at, because that's where I have the most fun and get the most entertainment out of it. So that's where my head's at.
Mr. Sanchez, you want to be wrong again?
No. I'm joining you guys with Dern. Honestly, since her loss to Amanda, is it Hebas or Rebus? I'm assuming Hebas.
It's Hebas. I think you're right.
Since her loss to Hebas, during her 4-fight win streak, she's made a much more of a concerted effort to play to her strengths, where I think before that she looked like she was starting to fall in love with the power that she showed in that Amanda Cooper fight. The Ashley Yoder fight. But since her first loss, she's made more of an effort for her striking to really lead more to getting to her bread and butter, which is the fight on the ground. So for her to win this fight, as you guys have already said twice already, Mackenzie would need to get it to the ground. I don't think she's going to fuck around and try and actually stand with Marina, because Marina's actually really good standing up. So it would be a big mistake for Mackenzie to try to go toe to toe with her in striking.
Mackenzie needs to go straight Damian Maia with her career. Like, I'm talking late, like Damian Maia,
yes.
Welterweight Damian Maia, where he's like, I'm putting people on the ground and fucking choking them. Like, she should do that. She should,
because her jiu-jitsu is on another level from a lot of the other women in MMA. So she should really just base her entire game, I think, around that, getting it to the ground, improving her skills incrementally, so that way she's just not complete shit everywhere else. But that's where she's going to win her fights. That's where she has the best shot to actually challenge for a title. I think she actually gets to the ground and wins this one.
Clean sweep right there. Where are we at now in the standings? What do Mark need to do to win your
close?
It is really starting to tighten up, boys and girls. With my pick of Walker last week, I am now just one game ahead of Dr. Law and DJ Mark with a K.
Oh, the Sharks are circling, man.
And
we all spent too much time together.
Bringing up the rear.
Are you still counting him? He's not doing this.
He's
got a DNF.
There.
Did not finish.
You know what it is? Mike doesn't want to get last. That's his worry here. Mike's like, he wants to win, but if he gets last, if he gets third, he's gonna be like, I didn't get last. Stefan got last.
That's right. You know me too well, Bobby.
Are you counting Stefan's 10 extra points or whatever in there?
No, I am not.
Yeah. That's all we're talking about.
That's it. That's it.
That's
it. We wrapped up the MMA.
29 minutes of MMA talk, guys. 30 seconds of that was our intro song. And whatever
Very
the fuck
light,
we're talking
like
about.
a supermodel's lunch.
Okay, so let's do stuff we like. A real quick hitter. I like that the Giants are the National League West goddamn champions. Eat shit, Dodgers. Beat LA, all that stuff.
All right, I feel like I need to call you out on your quick hitter because no less than maybe a month ago, Bobby was still asking us in our group chats, are the Giants any good?
Look, I have to ration out. It wasn't a month ago. It was about 2. My rule is 4th of July. Honestly, that's when I check in to see if the team is good, and I'm like, all right, we're good.
I want to give you shit about that, but the Jets have been so bad for so many years that outside of, I think, our quarterback, I know nobody on the Jets. So I feel you. When the team isn't good, it's like, I'll root for you guys, but I'm not watching these games. I got better things to do.
Seriously, man. That was great news. I mean, I don't know if these are quick hitters, but we got to celebrate, boys. The two of you accomplished something and acquired some stuff this week, right?
One person tried harder and succeeded more than the other one, and one of us just tripped into it. But
yes,
sure.
Both Mark and Mike are joining, as Stefan puts it, the Cool Kids Club. Both owners of PlayStation 5s.
That is correct. I did not try that much harder than you, Mark, to be quite honest. Last Tuesday, Matt Swider, the god Matt Swider, he sends out the bat signal. GameStop reload on PS5s. I'm at work Tuesday at like 10:55. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me give it a shot today. Let's see what happens. I'm actually in the middle of a meeting. The shit hits at 11. I get it in my cart, fully expecting this isn't gonna go through. It went through, and I was like, oh shit, I just got a PS5. This is pretty dope, and it's been pretty fun. How have you been enjoying it so far, Mark?
Well, I haven't gotten mine yet. So how this went down, our friend Eddie, who we mentioned every so often on the podcast as the person that made our logo 5 years ago, and that's his one contribute, and that will count for forever. He was able to snag one off of Walmart a couple weeks ago, and they're kind of on back order, so he's not going to get his until the end of October. And me and Eddie have been good friends for a long time, and we bonded early in our friendship over video games. He was a big Sega guy, and I was a big PlayStation guy. And he's kind of moved on to PC gaming. And, I've talked to him in the last couple months, and he was like, I want a PS5, but I also need a 3080 whatever graphics card. So that was kind of his white whale. And even when he got the Walmart one, he was kind of like, I know you kind of want this more than I do. It's like, I could just give it to you. And I was like, and there's a couple of games that I think Eddie would really enjoy. So I was like, I definitely want you to keep it. And you should play Spider-Man. You should play God of War. I think these are going to be right up your alley. And you didn't have a PS4, so he didn't get to experience any of those games. But he also mentioned, he said he's still going to try to get some. So I guess it was last Friday, kind of during the afternoon, they had another drop at Best Buy. And I guess Best Buy's whole thing now is they do in-store pickup. So you're kind of scrounging and they have a bunch of bundles and shit too. So it's like, what bundle do I want? What store can I get it at still? So he was able to secure one not too far from where we are in Union City. And since he had to, he offered to give me one. I told him I'd take the one he got from Walmart since he's not going to get it till the end of October. And Bobby had also, ever since he got his, has been trying to get me one. And I told everyone, don't break your backs over it. I'll get it whenever I get it.
I was going to say, Mike, Mark's not trying. I'm trying. Okay? I'm trying.
I would say in the last, month, I would try, when Bobby would tell me, oh, it's happening here or there, I'd throw my hat in, unsuccessfully, like many people have also tried. But it was always just, I'm not going to break myself over it. I'm not going to, and I'm really not tied into the social media things that you really need to be to kind of be on top of this, mainly Twitter. And like Mike said, following Matt and, closely having him let you know when something's coming up, getting all your information down there. Not strong suits of mine. So I was super appreciative that, Eddie was able to, who is much more, Bobby and Eddie are much more geared into those realms and, securing these hard to get things. So I really do appreciate him giving me his extra one, especially the one that's coming in earlier. So I'm actually going to be picking it up on Thursday. So I don't have it yet. And I guess, Bobby, do you want me to just jump into the stuff I like? Because it's somewhat related. My plan always was whenever I was able to secure a PS5, I would then upgrade my TV to a 4K TV. So, when I found out on Friday that I'm going to get one over the weekend, I snagged a 4K TV. took Bobby's recommendation off of, is it TCL? Is that what the company's called?
That's right, folks. TCL.
Yeah, and I know like TCL is kind of, you know, a bargain, you know, cheaper type of like 4K television, but I mean, my standards are low. I think I got the 1080 RCA TV when I got the PS4, so it's been over a decade.
Look,
since
folks, if you just were trying to spend less than $1,000 on a TV, just get yourself a fucking TCL with a Roku built in. You'll be fine. All right, it'll do everything you need it to do. If you want to spend more than $1,000, get an OLED TV from LG. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the luxury of experiencing an OLED screen before, and they are quite nice. But yeah, my budget really wasn't. I wasn't looking to spend over $1,000 or get anything super crazy. Yeah, so the 55-inch, you know, not only is it 4K, I thought my current TV was 55, but I guess it's 45 because I got this fucker home and I was like, damn, this thing barely fits on the TV stand. So much bigger screen, and you know, we got it on Sunday, so not only am I now enjoying the luxuries of 4K and you know, upgrading my fucking Netflix so I can watch 4K, which when you find out all my other streaming services, it's just free. There's like, yeah, you have the service, it's 4K, that's just the standard practice. And Netflix, when I logged in, they were like, oh, you have just the high def and not the ultra high def. Look how shitty Stranger Things looks on this screen. Look how good it looks on this one. It's like, fuck, fine. Here's your $4.
Well, they also give you more.
Animals.
They give you more things too, more streams.
You can like stream more. I'm not sharing my password. I think I have like one other person using it, so that's not really going to
us neither, right, Mike?
I haven't given my Netflix out to anyone else. I don't know.
Everybody is buying their own Netflix, obviously. But yeah, so you know, I got to watch some 4K stuff yesterday, and you know what I would say, and this is nothing new. You know, I think the majority of people, you know, have made the jump to 4K. I kind of know what that jump is from 10K to 4K, but I mean, for personally, it's just like I can tell. You know, things definitely look cleaner and crisper. Text on screen just looks a little bit sharper than it did in 1080. I had no issues with 1080. I think it's, you know, stuff looks great on there as well, but with 4K, you can definitely tell, you know, and it's not like this huge, you know, I think for all of us growing up on CRTVs, you know, the jump there to even like a 720 or a 1080 was extremely easy to tell. Like, oh, like this picture does not look blurry. It looks very clear. And with 4K, you're kind of, that's just like the next wrinkle in it. It's just like, it's even clearer and it's even crisper, you know, it looks better, you know, but it's not like I'm going to rewatch a bunch of the shit I've watched before and be like, oh, I haven't experienced this. This is all new. But I am enjoying it. And I think the added benefit of getting this TV is my rotation of TVs, where the living room TV is going in the bedroom. The bedroom TV is now in the studio, which I'm in now. And I really like that. It was quite a treat yesterday when I turned on my arcade machines. I was streaming some K1 Grand Prix 97 on the TV, and that's just a personal little man cave like thing for myself. Just like, man, having like Marvel vs. Capcom attraction mode on, Street Fighter Alpha attraction mode on, and then watching K1 97 is just like, this is some dreams.
What is attraction mode?
So that's in arcades, when you're not playing the game, it'll cycle through the computer playing itself, you know, animated scenes or whatever. It's just, they just call it basically when you're not playing. And as a kid, I spent a lot of time at arcades looking at attraction screens because I wasn't always playing or putting money in. I just wanted to see, you know, the game run and stuff like that. So it's a very surreal thing to be in, and having two machines definitely helps because, like, you know, when you're in the arcade, there's, you know, 20 things just yelling at you. So having the kind of fervor of just all this noise, and yeah, I quite enjoyed playing my games, and then in between rounds,
16-year-old Mark would be happy.
Yeah, this is,
as someone who knew 16-year-old Mark. 16-year-old Mark would be very happy.
Yeah, I mean, if I was ever to have a dream kind of job or, you know, brick and mortar story, no, an arcade, like a 90s arcade with a bunch of fighting machines and having old Pancrase and Pride and K1 TVs going is pretty much the height of what I would expect. So yeah, that stuff's been really fun. Yes, I've really enjoyed the TV swapping, and then there was a couple shows I wanted to talk about before I kind of wrap up my little stuff we like. And of course, we have lots of time here, so why not eat it up? One one of my favorite shows from the early 2010s was this animated show on HBO called The Life and Times of Tim.
Oh yeah.
It's not necessarily something that really clicks with a lot of people. It's all completely dialogue driven, a lot of improvise going on, and for me the comedy really comes in the subtlety of just like these little lines these characters would kind of throw out here and there. So Life and Times of Tim has been something that I've always really loved that series. They got 3 seasons on HBO, and I was a little befuddled when I got Max and it wasn't on there. It's like, this is your guys' fucking show. Like, you have everything on here. Why wouldn't you have The Life and Times of Tim? And I'm guessing they were saving up because they just came out last week with a new show called 10-Year-Old Tom. It's made by the same animation company. I think his name's Steve Dillard or something. He's the creator and writer. And basically the premise of the show is just, instead of this guy named Tim who's in his 20s, he's playing a kid who's 10 named Tom. And it's very much that same type of humor. So I would recommend, I having watched about 4.5 episodes of 10-Year-Old Tom, I think I still kind of like The Life and Times of Tim a little bit more. I think having 20-year-olds kind of breeds into the kind of insanity or the weird scenarios these characters would find them in. I'm still thoroughly enjoying myself with 10-Year-Old Tom. But I would say if you want to dip a toe, you haven't watched any of these shows, try The Life and Times of Tim. And you'll know in that first episode, it's one of these shows, like, I'm not laughing out loud all the time, but it's just clever little, like I said, it's just little lines here and there that kind of crack me up and stick with me.
You had me on that show too. I was watching Life and Times of Tim because you told me to. I remember, and I thought it was great. HBO, is it still doing like, fucking, let's do a weird show? Like, remember Bored to Death? That was another one that, like, HBO will just put some shit on TV sometimes. I don't know. Is that not a thing anymore?
I mean, Bored to Death was great because, I mean, it had a really all-star cast that I have to imagine cost them a lot of money. If you just search The Life and Times of Tim or 10-Year-Old Tom, you'll know not a lot of money's going into like the animation and art of this show. It's very much because this guy, Steve Dillard, I think before he did kind of a pilot of The Life and Times of Tim, he was most famously known for making the Three Frogs Budweiser commercial where they go Budweiser. Like, that was his claim to fame. And then he had this idea for a cartoon, and it literally looks like he drew it himself. Like, it is a very crude drawing animation. But like I said, the comedy is not really derived from like physical gags or even visual gags. It's really just the dialogue, the characters, the scenarios, and how they kind of work themselves in and out of these things. Which is fun. So yeah, I've really been enjoying that show. I recommend it if you want to try out a new animated series. And then I did watch only one episode of an FX show that's been getting a lot of advertising, a lot of buzz. Reservation Dogs. This is another one of Taiki's shows, and I did only watch one episode, so I don't have like a super firm grasp. I liked what I saw. It did seem to kind of lack some of the comedic beats that I think Taiki's really known for. And I don't know who the guy who created it with him. I think it's more of his vision, and Taiki's just kind of along for the ride and helping them produce and direct, maybe potentially. I'm not totally sure. But it is still an interesting story, and it's definitely something that, when we talk about more representation in not just cinema, but television and stuff, having a show around a reservation and, literally Native American people, I think is interesting in and of itself. And the show itself is more about these kids kind of in a rough community trying to work their way out by doing like petty crimes. And then, basically the premise of the pilot is them kind of turning on that and trying to be better people. And their little gang is called the Reservation Dogs. So it's cute. I want to watch more of it for sure. I really enjoyed what I saw. But yeah, that's the stuff I like this week.
Mike?
Very nice. I already kind of mentioned what my stuff I like this week. Well, Bobby did. It's the PS5. I've been playing it for the most part since Saturday. That's essentially what I will be doing for the next few weekends. I think it'll be paying for itself in saved bar bills within a month and a half. It's been a lot of fun. I have played the 2 bundle games that came with it, NBA 2K22 and Ghost of Tsushima. I'm much more of a adventure single player kind of guy. So for me, really been playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima rather than NBA 2K22. It was very exciting to get, mainly because, and I haven't gotten this like excitement to get a new system, I would say, since I was a kid. Mainly because it has been so fucking hard to get a PS5. Paying retail price, that is. I mean, if you want to pay $1,200 for just the system and a controller, you could have gone and done that, but I'm not doing that shit. So it's been kind of fun, but a little frustrating as well over the last month and a half or so, trying to get onto the different drops that would happen and have the thing sell out within about 5 minutes. And this time actually being able to hit it and kind of be in with this community of people that are, screaming in joy, like, hey, I finally got a PS5. But besides that, I'm really enjoying it. Just spending any spare time I've had since Saturday at about 3 in the afternoon, just playing Ghost of Tsushima. I will probably, as soon as we finish up here, fire that bitch right back up and play again.
Yeah, and Mike, I think it's kind of important to know because maybe some of the listeners are interested. I mean, the route you took, I think, definitely is probably the best for scoring it with it. If you're not into the hunt, and I honestly, after you got yours, because basically, Mike, you had to sign up for the GameStop Power Up rewards program thing to give you early access when they dropped. And when Bobby told me you did that a couple weeks ago, I was thinking like, yeah, that might, basically my thought process was like, once he scores with it, and I kind of see like someone did this and it actually worked for them, I was like, that might be the route to go. So I do think if you're still looking for one, and I think, Mike, what's also kind of, the caveat to this is that you're probably going to get more than just the system, right? You're probably not going to get just a PS5. Like you said, you had to get a bundle with Ghost of Tsushima and NBA 2K. And did you get an extra controller? Because sometimes they throw in PlayStation Plus or whatever.
No extra controller. The one thing I wish I could have done without, since I normally re-up on this during Black Friday when you could get it for like a third of the price, is what was included in the bundle was $60 for a year of PlayStation membership.
Yeah.
I guess that was just kind of the cost of doing business. Like, all right, sure. I mean, if I have to get this as well, then that was fine. But I think that the best part of how GameStop has been doing it is that the way they've gone about it, it has stopped a lot of the bots from being able of just coming in and just buying all of the systems by actually having to be a pro member. For example, when I got it on Tuesday, that early sale for, I think it was about the first hour, that early sale was literally just for pro members. So there weren't nearly as many people that were spamming the website because they couldn't. So I think that was actually the main reason why I was able to get one. It still took me about 4 different drops on GameStop to be able to get it. But I was able to get it. $20 for a year pro membership. You get a magazine that I actually just got yesterday, my first issue of
Game Informer. It's the last gaming magazine that survived.
Yeah, EGM is no longer around. What was the other one? Game Pro is no longer around.
Yeah, there's a lot of them in the 90s.
Tips and tricks.
Nintendo Power.
Nintendo Power is no longer around anymore. PSN magazine. Man, there were a lot of gaming magazines. Jesus.
PSN, Mike. Now I know you're legit, because that was the magazine. That's the hardcore kids knew that shit. That was the good stuff.
So
wait, really? Tips and Tricks wasn't the one that said,
no, Tips and Tricks is like, you don't got internet, son, so you gotta get this magazine.
But really enjoying the PS5.
Right on. I actually just pre-ordered Back for Blood. So
I will too. I told you I'd jump on that with you.
It's only 60 bones.
It's not bad.
I mean, you get both of them. You get PS4 and PS5. I think
who needs PS4? We're done with that, Bobby. That's old school shit.
I think it has crossplay. The way I'm reading, I think if they're doing it.
Also, Bobby, I had that same issue. I tried to get MLB The Show for the PS5. Nah, homie. They're like, nah, you need to buy that bitch.
What do you mean? Are you trying to use the one you had already?
I was trying, like, because for Miles Morales, for example, I bought the PS4 version, and it allowed me to download the PS5 version.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case for MLB The Show.
Yeah, some of them there's free upgrades. I have a couple of games that's just like, yeah, you get the PS5 version for free, like you said, Miles, and there's a lot of other games. And then some of them have like you have to pay an extra $10. Some of them, if you only bought like a certain edition of it, you can get the PS5 version for free. It's kind of some bullshittery, but it is what it is.
I didn't remember the answer to this, and Mike, since you just opened your PS5, you can answer to me. Did it come with a headset?
No.
Or a mic or anything?
No, no headset, but I already had a headset, so I'm ahead of the game.
And the PS5 controller, they did it with the PS4. It has a speaker in it, but it also has a mic.
Okay.
So if you want to,
I can plug in.
Yeah, and you can plug in any kind of headset that you already have, which a lot of people already do. But yeah, that's kind of how they kind of circumvented like getting that stuff in the console itself.
Well, I'm just saying because when it comes time for Back for Blood time, the three of us and Stefan,
you got to be chatting.
What the hell is Back for Blood?
Did you not play Left 4 Dead when you were?
Oh, that's what. Okay,
it's the same people who it's the people who made the game, right? The team that made it.
Yeah,
because they sold the rights.
Their name's Turtle Rock. Yeah, they basically Valve published Left 4 Dead, so it's their property, and then Valve doesn't make any third trilogy games. So the studio was like, we want to make another game. This was really popular. There's a lot of demand for it. We're just going to make it ourselves and have someone else publish it. And that's what they did. And that's why it's called Back for Blood instead of
it better be good. I could just drop $60 on it.
Speaking of which, Game Informer has about a 5-page spread on Back for Blood. So
that's right. We'll be playing it, Mike.
Looking very encouraging.
We're all buying that shit.
It
says, yeah, sure. It says 8 players can, or it supports 8 players. So I wonder if that's 8 versus the horde or like 4-on-4.
So we've got us 3. We've got Steph. We've got our friend Melissa.
Well, Mark's saying it's 4-on-4, so we couldn't like go.
You can do both. You can do 4. It's just like Left 4 Dead. You can do 4 co-op where you're just fighting the AI and they have the AI controls the monsters, or you can do competitive where 4 survivors and then 4 people controlling them.
No, but can we go?
Can
we go 8 people cooperative? Is what it sounds like. Because it says it supports 8 people. That'd be badass.
That would be cool. That would be really cool. That'd be really fun.
We get a whole crew of people.
We'll let you know in a few weeks. It comes out on the 12th, so we're rounding the corner.
It comes out on
that's next
11th. 11th at 9
that's
p.m.
next Monday.
Time.
Isn't it?
Next Monday.
Yeah, when you pre-order it, you get it at midnight.
I actually should probably remember. You know what I realize? It's kind of actually, as long as it doesn't just start downloading during the podcast.
Well, unfortunately for Mike, West Coast people get it at 9. He has to get it at midnight because for whatever reason they're like, once East Coast is 12 o'clock, all rules go off. Everyone else gets it instantly.
Yeah,
so
it's like how my dad watches.
It's not a big deal. It's not fucking midnight, but Mike's got to be up at midnight if he wants to play the minute it comes out. But no harm there.
It's like how my dad watches Ted Lasso Thursday nights at like 9:05.
Yeah, that's why they do it. I don't get the logic, but us West Coasters, we get it easy peasy over here. Right at 9, right before you go to bed, you can watch a show, play a game.
Mike, are you up to date on what's it called? The Y, The Last Man?
I am not. No.
Okay.
Wait. Mark, have you watched it?
Not a second.
Okay.
Okay. Then on that. I'm on like the 3rd episode.
Okay. I'm on I just started the 5th, I think. Whatever just came out, 5th or 6th, the most recent one that came out. I'm still in. I'm still into it. So we'll see where it goes from here.
That's good.
But one thing I don't like is that the guy is, I don't know.
He's a real piece of shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yorick sucks in the comics too. Different reasons. He's, it's more up to date with why he sucks. But
okay.
He's supposed to be, you're not supposed to like Yorick.
Like, only dude, and we don't even like him.
You know what? I like Ampersand. That's my hero. Okay, the monkey.
Now I know there's a monkey, so I'm a little bit more intrigued.
There's a monkey. You knew there was a monkey. All right. Yeah. I want to talk about Ted Lasso. Honestly,
sure. Let's leave that for next week, because next week we'll have seen the season finale, right?
I know, but let's talk about how we've gotten here. Because are we all up to date? Because I'm thinking, Mike.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We might as well just wait until next week.
Next week we also at least
next week we're also going to talk about Ted Lasso.
Well, I'm Ted Lasso, of course. Not debating. It is a great show. I've been loving it. There's also been another show I look forward to every week And while no one else is watching and enjoying as much as I am, I've been loving What If. I don't know why everyone else hasn't, but that also ends.
I've been watching What If every week. I watch it during work. Shit.
Good, and it's ending this week. It's all coming together.
This is a podcast we just put out to the world. This is good. You watch it during what, Mike?
I watch it before work.
Watching it before work, during a break, lunch break.
And
you can slip an episode in.
Actually, that's not bullshit because I normally wake up around like 6:30 and the episode's out, and I watch it with my coffee, and then whenever my morning dump hits, I watch What If.
Wrap it up. I get it. It makes sense. No one's violating any kind of agreement with employers or anything like that.
I just realized that actually is my routine. That has been my routine on Wednesdays for like the last 2 months.
Great way to start the day, Mike. You want to talk about Lasso, Bob?
I mean, people were complaining about this season.
I have one thing. Here's the one thing I will say about Ted Lasso, that I have been shooting intermittent, texts to Bobby as the episodes have progressed, and this has happened more and more. And it culminated to this past Wednesday or Thursday when I just sent 2 words to Bobby. Fuck Nate.
There seems to be in a very uplifting show. This season has definitely culminated with a villain, if you will, with someone that is actually not likable.
Well, here's the thing. You don't think some of it, he doesn't seem beyond saving. You look at the man, and he looks like he's caving to the realities of his new position almost. I'm not totally unsympathetic, I think.
You say caving to the realities of his new position. I say drunk with the power of his new position. Having been a doormat. No, it is not the same thing. That is so not the same thing. Okay. In one of them, it's kind of sympathetic. In this one, he's just being a dick to that equipment manager.
I mean, that's fair. Honestly,
and then just straight snitching in the last episode.
Well, I mean, we need a journalist around here to explain to us if whether journalistic ethics.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's the thing: we don't know if Nate gave it. Nate doesn't know what he's doing. Obviously, did Nate manage to give that quote on the condition of anonymity?
Yeah, because I know when Ted Krim from the E! Independent said it was Nate.
Well, he also didn't go public with that.
No, actually, I think he actually did break some journalistic rules because he did say initially when he was texting to Ted, he said an anonymous source said that you had a panic attack, and because I respect you, it was Nate.
Well, here's the thing. Is it breaking the journalistic ethic? Because he didn't go public with who it was. He's telling one person who it is.
Well, I mean, if TV has ever taught me anything, is that these journalists treat their sources like they're sacrosanct.
Okay, well let's make our predictions here. If anybody's got any predictions for the last episode, because I got one, and I've been telling Mark this one for a couple of weeks, and I don't think I'm alone in this prediction. That that Rupert is buying a new team.
Oh yeah.
And Nate's the new coach.
I don't think that's a very far out there prediction.
No, I think it became clear for people in the last week too that this motherfucker's not long for this team.
You're talking about he wants to be in control. He wants to take over.
I was gonna say the other one I got is Roy and Keeley stay together because I'm not sure America could take it. Everybody's very invested in the Roy and Keeley relationship. And we can't. I know this is like the 3-act play, and this is fucking Empire Strikes Back, and it's not going to end necessarily pleasant. But come on, they can't do that to people, right?
I think Keeley gets caught playing hide the sausage with Jamie in the final episode by Roy.
Really?
That's right. That's right. Because Mikey likes himself a spicy show.
Do you think they're consciously doing it, or do you think there's some kind of misunderstanding where they're in some scenario where he's in the locker room and she walks in and
she tripped, fell, and landed on his
line? No. Maybe it doesn't even happen. It looks like it happened. Like it looks like it's happening, and it's just Roy comes in and he loses his temper.
Or do you think it's legitimately like she still has feelings for him? They kind of hook up because she's not sure where she's at with Roy and all that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's interesting.
Does anybody think Sam leaves?
No.
I don't know.
I don't think so. No.
No.
I think here's what I think. I think the happiness comes from Sam and
Them getting promoted.
I forget what the owner's name is, but
Is it Rebecca?
Rebecca, yeah. I think it ends with happy with Sam and Rebecca getting together, sad Roy and Keely break up, and happy that little fucking traitor turncoat Nate goes to another team.
Well,
That's gonna be the conflict of next season.
So do we all think that they're getting promoted? They're going to go back to they're not going to be in relegation next year? Because I think they're going back up. I think they're going to qualify for being promoted back up to the Premier League.
since they talked about how he only wanted to do 3 seasons, it would almost seem fitting for the last season to be like they're going for whatever the cup is for the Premier League or whatever.
Win the Premier League championship. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I never get so caught up in like trying to guess necessarily what's going to happen next, or trying to like, I mean, in some shows, it leads themselves to that. Like they leave you, a breadcrumb trail to kind of let you to think like, oh, maybe this will happen or that will happen. I mean, really for me, the joy has just been, this show is not only just like one extremely upbeat and fun loving and just like, it's just a show filled with positivity, even though there has been a lot of negative and actual like, talking about mental issues and how it affects people having panic attacks. I think it addresses those things really well while still being extremely uplifting. And for me, especially these last 2 episodes, outside of just it being extremely well cast and well written and shot, the acting has been so much better than I would have expected. There's been scenes where Jason or Roy or Keely would act and emote in scenes a lot more than I thought they were capable of. I never thought of Jacob Sudeikis as like a particularly great actor. He always just seemed like a comedic type of actor. But in this last scene, where he's reading the letter from, I mean, he's had a lot of scenes where he's just killed it with his acting, not even reading off lines, just verbally. And in this episode, particularly when he was reading the letter, you could tell what the letter said without him saying anything, just reading his face and his emotional arc about how angry he was, and then seeing that anger leave him while he's reading the letter. And then obviously, what he says after and kind of clarifies, his feelings towards his therapist and how much she has helped him get through some of his demons and, beaten back some of his, predetermined thoughts about what therapy is and, what it means to be in therapy and to try to better yourself. And then, there's just been a lot of things that just really surprised me. So, and I thought what was fun, a lot of these actors have just won Emmys off of this show. And I even asked Bob, like, do the people that award these shows get to see the full season? Did they see these episodes? Because I definitely think if they saw these episodes, that could potentially sway them. Not that they would have earned it. They wouldn't have earned it before, the work they put in previously to the first season and what's led up to the second season.
It's not even based on a season. It's based on a time frame of whatever aired. Like they look at a certain calendar and say, did it air during this calendar?
Yeah, and so, I think it makes them look even better because these last couple episodes have shown like not only is just fun and a joy to watch, but like there's a lot of masters of their craft going on here, and I really appreciate that. So whatever happens in this finale, I think is going to be fantastic, and whatever emotional strings they want to pull, I'm fully on board for, and I'm excited to see where they go, because so far they've done a fantastic job, surprising me, but also just making me care about the characters. And even characters, it's hard to have a full cast where you're emotionally invested in everyone, but they've done a great job with their primary characters and even a lot of the side characters. I mean, Johnny Rojas, right? I'm not saying his name right. Danny Rojas is just such a fun character.
Did I mention last week? Did I mention last week Danny Rojas in his shoes at the funeral? Because I was crying, laughing so hard.
What was the point? Like, I didn't understand that.
It's because
I don't think there was a point.
Uncomfortable.
And like, what's his name had such a real poignant like analysis of the situation, where like these shoes are for muggles, they're different than you and me, and I'm like, Wow. It's an interesting take on being a footballer.
There's been some arcs of these characters have been surprising. I think Jamie's is very surprising. You know, I think a lot of the first season was around his character, and especially the finale kind of wrapped up his relationship with Ted in a really fun way. And I think that's probably what's going to happen here with Nate. Like whatever Nate does, whether he does join another team or he quits or whatever happens, I feel like Ted will be honest with him and still appreciate what he's done for him and how he's helped him, even if things do get muddled in the end. And this is the kind of storytelling that I think, you know, really elevates the show past just like a fun little sitcom to something that's a lot more meaningful. And like we talked about, you know, forget the pretext of what the show's about, because that really doesn't mean anything. You know, it being about a soccer club in Europe is just a fun premise that they've ricocheted off into a really fantastic show. So I'm excited to see what they do next week, and I'm sure we'll talk about it. You're muted, Mike. Bob, if you're saying something.
I'll say Ted Lasso. Easily my favorite show I'm watching right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not even close. All right. Few last things to tie up. Shout out to Scarlett Johansson making Disney.
She got that bag.
Yeah, she held all the cards. Disney had no interest in going to trial on this thing. Like,
yeah, I mean, she held all the cards in that you guys are in clear breach of your contract.
Yeah, it was like, and Disney's response at first about like she was callous because during a pandemic she was
nails in the coffin for him,
and everybody was just like, "What? What are you talking about?" You had the Marvel people supporting her fellow castmates and stuff. That was great. All right. Yeah, and then on the wrestling front, I thought it was really cute that the Dark Order was brought back together by -1 and Mrs. Brody Lee, Amanda Huber. That was adorable, and I thought it was gonna. I mean, I was ready for Hangman, Mike. I was ready, but now I think this week we get Hangman. He's my pick for the Joker in that ladder match.
I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
And I enjoyed Bryan Danielson versus Nick Jackson. I'm enjoying Bryan Danielson at his full. Like, there's a noticeable difference, right? Like him and being Daniel Bryan. There's all the shackles are off. He's not holding back on any level. This man is, and I like. It's weird at like 40 years old. I think he is. I think that's how old Bryan is. He seems like the best wrestler in the world. Like Kenny's doing great right now, of course, and Roman's killing it over on SmackDown. But right now, it looks like Bryan Danielson's literally taking himself to the next level, just in terms of his craft entirely. So, and apparently, 3 AEW theme songs were in the top 100 on Billboard this week.
Nice.
Wait, so I know Adam Cole's theme song was #1 on the heavy metal charts.
Yeah, they got a #1 on the heavy metal chart song. They're a theme song they put out, Marcus. That's nuts.
Awesome. I'm assuming Bryan Danielson.
I think the other one might be Ruby's, but that's not their song technically, because that song belongs to that's a Rancid song. I don't think it was hers though. I'm trying to think what the other one would be.
Rancid is very happy that
also,
they allowed
honestly,
us to be licensed.
it would be CM Punk if it was going to be a real song, like not one of theirs they made.
I listened to all 3 of those songs on my run this past Saturday.
Dude, Cult of Personality is like a really good song. Like objectively a really good song. I think that band's is that a New York band? Also, Living Color. You don't get a lot of black rock and roll bands.
Wait, really?
Huh. Yeah. Just I mean, even though black people invented rock and roll, allegedly.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I mean, not allegedly.
I mean, they did. Yeah. Not allegedly. Yeah, and they're doing a WWE draft, which has it's hard to for a company that's so poor at long-term planning. It just seems arbitrary. You know, Mike, it's hard to be like they have a plan for this person they drafted. They haven't earned that, trust with the audience.
Yeah,
but I saw Xia Li got drafted, and I like Xia Li, so good for her to get out.
I have no faith in WWE. I don't
watch the show still.
Yeah, I don't understand why they moved Bianca from from SmackDown. Her feud with Becky had just started. Like Becky less than a month ago took the championship off of her in like a very quick fashion. They had only had one other match. Like
they're doing that match in what was it, Abu Dhabi in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah, because who watches that?
All three of them make me dressed like Power Rangers, head to toe in gear. That's what they're gonna be dressed like. It's gonna look. That's what they're calling it, the Power Ranger gear. Look, man, it's fine. I'll say something I do like with the WWE product. So they got Marcus. They got this kid in NXT. His name is Braun Breaker. Okay, his father is Rick Steiner.
Okay.
His uncle is Scott Steiner. Before they changed his name to Braun Breaker, it was going to be Rex Steiner.
That would be better.
It'd be way better. Braun Breaker's got 2 Ks, by the way.
I approve.
This kid, Mark, looks like his dad and sounds like his uncle. And it's so weird because I don't know. I think Mike missed a lot of Scott Steiner being a crazy person and being on all the steroids, all of them.
I've seen the pictures though.
Oh,
He was
man.
pumped.
I was a big Papa Pump used to just come out, mumble about something, and then he would, I don't even know what the fuck Scott Steiner was talking about half the time, and then he would go, Big Papa Pump's got your hookup. Holler if you hear me. And the people would holler. I love this kid, man. I'm already ready. I'm like, make this kid fucking NXT champ. Bring it, call him up. Let's get Braun Breaker wrestling Roman Reigns. I am all about this kid. Mostly because of the nostalgia of Scott Steiner being crazy. And finally, the episode of Dark Side of the Ring this week. I know probably fewer people watched it because I don't know how many people know Onita necessarily. It was about FMW. Marcus, I was telling you about this episode where they were talking about how the Yakuza got involved and there were people dying. And of course, the legendary Hayabusa, a Japanese wrestler that Mark and I liked when we were kids, based on watching him in a handful of crazy matches I bought on VHS tapes when he got paralyzed. As always, Dark Side of the Ring, just killing it every week. I don't know what the one this week's about. I'm not familiar with the subject matter, but I'm really just counting down until the Vince McMahon steroid trial episode, where they ensure that Vince never cooperates with any footage they want ever again. I guess that's it for this week, right, guys? We got nothing else going on?
Filled over an hour. You thought we couldn't do it when we stopped talking about MMA for 25 minutes, but we proved you wrong.
I was going to say the words, this is going to be a short one when we're like 25 minutes in, and I'm like, it never is. I'm not going to say that.
we love we love the listeners so much. I'm sure when they heard us done with MMA and they looked at it like, there's still 40 minutes left.
Like, what the fuck are they talking about?
I think they're I'm pretty sure that any fans we do have at this point, they know when we hit these dark age periods. They know that when there's nothing out, we're still gonna get our hour and 10 minutes in, and all it means is that 40 minutes of it is gonna be us bullshitting.
Look, honestly, and we're ending right now, I swear, but I love these. I love these kind of episodes because it's just whatever. I'm here for whatever. I mean, this would have been a good week for Mike to tell me about a CW show because I would have been fine with it. Like, go, Mike. What's going on? What kind of CW show you're rocking?
Well, look, man, I don't want this episode to go any longer. All I'll say is that I'm very happy that The Miz is actually safe and Dancing with the Stars. He'll survive for another week.
Good on
Fair
him.
enough. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. That was Dr. Law. That was DJ Mark. That was Lavender Gooms.
Say what now?
Dude, I'm tired. Lavender Gooms. All right? I didn't have coffee. I'm tired. I'm hungry. It's been a long week, bro. All right? Okay. That was Dr. Law. That was DJ Mark.
I haven't brushed my hair in about 2 weeks, so Lavender Grooms, I am not.
And that very hairy man is Lavender Gooms. See y'all next week. Watch the fights, don't watch the fights. Fucking watch Ted Lasso. Peace out.
See ya.
See ya.